Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica. Today is launch day for my Liberty quilt pattern. I have been teasing this on Instagram and Facebook for a little bit now, so I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's also launching today, so it's available in my shop, which I will link below. You can also head to store.confessionsofahomeschooler.com for more information and to get the pattern. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at Liberty. So I love patriotic quilts, and so every year I come up with a new one, and this one might just be one of my all-time favorites. I've titled it Liberty because the fabric line I used for this quilt is called Sweet Liberty. It's by Brenda Riddle from Moda Designs, and it is just such kind of a vintage patriotic vibe to it. I loved it. It has soft blues, pinks, reds. It also had some tans. I didn't use as much of the tan, but I did use it a little bit in this, which we'll see in just a minute. But it was just such a fun fabric line to work with. So let's go ahead and talk about the quilt first, and then I'll get into the bonus patterns, which you can kind of see behind me here. The quilt itself finishes at 86 by 86, so it is actually a good size quilt. If you wanted to change the borders on it, you could change the size of the quilt by removing one column of blocks if it's just a little bit too big. Obviously, that's going to mess with the cute flying geese border that we have going around the outside of the quilt, but you could do your own borders on it and be just fine that way if it's too large. If it's too small and you want it a little bit bigger, you could always add some extra borders or even just expand that outer border out a little bit more, and that's a really easy way to change the size of a quilt pattern to fit your specific needs. Now, I did want this quilt to have a vintage vibe to go with that fabric that I chose, and so I wanted to, of course, have some flag blocks, some stars, and then some pinwheels, because to me, pinwheels, like those ones that you see people sticking in their yards and they're spinning, that just screams like summer to me, and so I knew I wanted to incorporate those things into this quilt. So the first block is actually a star flag combo block. I just went with the simple friendship stars. They're a very classic block, and then added some red and white stripes next to it to give you that vintage flag feeling. This block comes together so easy, and it's just so much fun. And then for the other block, I went ahead and incorporated those spinny pinwheels. I did a taller one and a shorter one and set them in a little bowl. So like you can imagine a bowl sitting out on your patio table with those little flyers in them. I just thought it would be so cute. And these blocks are actually quite large. They finish at 16.5 by 16.5, so they're really good size quilt blocks. So it actually comes together really fast, even though it's a quite large quilt. Now, I didn't want them butt up next to each other, so I just did a really simple sashing, just plain sashing strips with little cornerstones in between. Very easy, but it's enough to kind of separate out those blocks and give them a little bit of space so they're not like running into each other. And then the last thing that I wanted to incorporate on this quilt was a really fun border. So I went with a flying geese border, all in red. I just felt like it was really picnicky and patriotic, and so I loved it. I used the red gingham from the Sweet Liberty line, and I think it just turned out so cute. And I do have a fast way to make those, so even though it looks like a lot of flying geese, they actually come together very quickly. Now, for the background of this, I wasn't loving any of the backgrounds that came with the Sweet Liberty for the overall background. They were just too much, and so I actually chose a print by Fig Tree. It's from their new fruit cocktail line, and it is the blue eyelet print. And the blues are just slightly different. The fig trees are a little bit brighter, but I think since it's such a subtle print, it actually worked really well with this quilt. But any kind of really light, low volume background I think would be lovely, as would just a plain white background. And then for my outer border, I did do the little red rose print from the Sweet Liberty line. I love that it's a low volume, but it's still kind of got that red vibe to it. I thought it looked really cute. And then for the binding, I did the blue gingham. I love gingham bindings. They're probably my all-time favorite. And I just really wanted a summery, picnicky feel, and I just think that really achieved that look. Now for the backing, and this might be one of my favorite prints of all time, I used the blue, it's called Sky, from the Sweet Liberty line. It's the Sky print, and it has these beautiful flowers on it with just a soft blue. It was just the perfect print. Now, I had purchased this fabric before I'd finished finalizing my pattern, so I didn't actually purchase enough of my background fabric which is totally fine. It happens. So I just found another print in my stash that kind of matched the vibe I was going for, and I just added about an 8-inch strip in there right down the middle. It gave me a place to put my label, so it kind of looks intentional, even though it was a little bit of an oopsie on my part. And I will say I've done that more than once on my backings where I realize I'm coming up a little bit short, so I'll just add an accent strip down the middle, or sometimes, you know, you can make some extra blocks to put down the middle just to increase your yardage for your backing. For my label, I did do a personalized label. This is from my Sweetwater Tag subscription, and it's one of my favorite subscriptions. I've been a member for maybe a couple years now, and so each month they send out different labels. They're all different sizes. They're usually themed with the seasons, and they're all personalized with your name, so they're a lot of fun. And I do have a video here on YouTube on how to add those labels to the backs of your quilts or any kind of project that you're wanting to personalize. So I think it's really important to be able to label your things so that when they get passed down through the generations, people know where they came from. And that's pretty much it for the quilt. I love this quilt. It's perfect size to throw on your bed. You can throw it on the couch for people to snuggle up under. You can take it out for picnics. And of course you can hang it in your home on a quilt ladder and just bring a little bit of patriotic into your living space. All right, so because of how this quilt is constructed, the pinwheels actually create a second set of little mini pinwheels that you can use for other projects. And so I went ahead and did that in this pattern. I added 2 bonus projects, and they are right here behind me. We've got a pillow and a table runner, and I actually even had a few blocks left over. And so you can see this little quilt block hanging right here on my wall. That one I think I'm gonna turn into like a little tote bag or something. You could use those in your table runner if you wanted to make it a little bit longer. Let's go ahead and talk about the size of those. So the table runner is finishing at about 13.5 by 48 inches. If you want it a little bit bigger, you could definitely just add a few border pieces around it to make it a little bit wider. I actually made mine the size I did because it's fitting on my coffee table, and so I needed it to not be like a huge runner. But I could have used those extra blocks in that runner and made it a little bit longer if I wanted. And I just took all of my leftover fabrics. So really to make the runner and the pillow, you just need a little bit extra for the red and white stripes. And otherwise, all of the blocks, all of the pinwheels are actually leftovers from the pinwheels from the quilt. So you can get both of these projects just from your leftovers from the quilt without having to add too much extra in. So the runner is really cute. I just alternated my blocks with the pinwheels and the stripe blocks. If you didn't want to make extra stripes, you could just put all your pinwheels together. You could put a little sashing between them. There's a lot of different ways you can lay this out. I also laid mine out in a format where it was 2 blocks by 7 blocks. You could completely change that. You could do 4 by 4 if you have like a square table or a round table. You might want something a little bit more, you know, that takes up more of the center. Like I said, I'm putting on mine on a smaller, longer kind of rectangle shaped coffee table. So I just arranged mine so it would fit on that. But there's a lot of possibilities with this. You're also going to have enough extra to make a pillow as well. And again, you can kind of customize this. You can do a pillow that's sort of the size of my block up here, or I actually used 9 blocks and made a 20 by 20 pillow, and I love how the pillow turned out. Again, I made a few extra flag strips for my pillow, and I alternated the pinwheel units with the flag strips, and I think it just turned out so cute. And then I did an envelope backing on it using that blue gingham fabric. Yes, I did order a little bit extra for my pillow, and those fabric requirements for the pillow and the runner are both included in the pattern. So for the pillow, I didn't want to bind it. I just wanted something easy, so I went ahead and just quilted my pillow top with the batting, and then I just sewed it right side down onto those envelope backings, flipped it right side out, stuffed it with a 20 by 20 pillow, and I was good to go. It's really easy to do that way. You could also bind it if you wanted, and I do have a tutorial on YouTube on how to create a pillow using that envelope backing, so definitely check that out. And of course you can do any kind of backing you want, but the pattern does include instructions on how to do the envelope backing for your pillow. So all of that is included in the pattern. You get the instructions for the full-size quilt plus the pillow and table runner. I just think they turned out so cute, and I love having them all in my house. I've got the runner, the quilt, and the pillow all in my living room, so it just brings everything together, and it's super fun and patriotic. Now let's talk a little bit about fabric kits, because you guys always ask me if we're doing fabric kits. Carrie from Catching Stitches is doing kits for these. She has 2 kits available, so you're going to want to check her website to see what you prefer. She has a vintage kind of kit like the one that I did. She also has a more traditional red, navy, and white kit. Both are beautiful. She's a master at pulling fabrics together, and so both of her kids are amazing. So we just wanted to give you a couple different options to choose from so you could pick the one that suits you the best. So definitely head over to her store. They are available now. They do not come with a pattern, so you do still need to get the pattern from my website. The pattern is offered in PDF format and print format, so you can choose whichever one you prefer, and we'll do our best to get those to you as soon as we can. The pattern does include yardage information, but I used a Sweet Liberty Fat Quarter bundle, and I'm just gonna kind of try and show you here. This is what I have left over. So I used all the reds, the blues, and then there's a line that is kind of these tans. I didn't really use many of those. I really just used the tans for the little stems that are holding up the pinwheels. Otherwise, the red, pink, and blue were what I used most of. So here's what I have left over. I'm hoping to use some of this to use my little spare block, with my spare block, and make possibly a little tote bag or something I can take to my knitting group. So I just thought I'd show you what I have left over from my fat quarter bundle. I believe there were 24 fat quarters in that bundle, so you're not gonna be using them all, and you will have a little bit left over for future projects. So that's gonna be it for today's launch. Happy Memorial Day. I hope you guys are gonna enjoy this pattern. There's a lot of possibilities with it. It's a lot of fun, and it's perfect for the upcoming July month. So thanks for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not already, make sure you subscribe, and you can also hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming fun. We have a lot of fun videos planned for this summer, or I guess if you are my Southern Hemisphere people, for your winter. But hopefully you will still enjoy those videos. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any upcoming fun. That's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I will put a link on where you can get my patterns right here on the screen and below the video. You can also head to my store at store.confessionsofahomeschooler.com. Just search Liberty and those patterns should pull up for you. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. So I have to share this with you guys. This is a cute little, I think it's a candle, like you're supposed to put a candle in there. I got it from Michael's, and instead of a candle, let me show you my little hack here. I've got a cute little water bottle that actually fits down inside there. Sorry about the clinking. And I thought it would be perfect to put these little flowers in. So I just have this on my table, and it just happens to match perfectly with my quilt and my runner. So I just wanted to share that with you because I just got it like a few weeks, like a week ago maybe. It's in their summer stuff. So if they still have them, and I think they were even 40% off. So anyways, super cute. I just figured I'd share that at the end of this video in case any of you guys like this. And then I just have some pink and like hot pink and white carnations in there. Perfect for summer.